What if Eren and Mikasa actually ran away together and started a family? In the Attack on Titan universe, a single choice can create an entirely new reality. Today, we are opening the door to the craziest timelines in Attack on Titan, starting with Dina Fritz being the Colossal Titan, the one that ate Eren's mother, with Eren unable to do anything, the one Titan that shows up at the worst possible moment and changes everything. But what if that same Titan, instead of waiting at the gate, walked through it and found Bertolt first? Dina Fritz, the woman who spent years as a mindless pure Titan wandering outside the walls before anyone can do anything, she bites down. Bertolt is gone, the Colossal Titan is gone with him, and Dina Fritz, the woman who was supposed to spend eternity as a monster, wakes up in Shiganshina as a human being covered in steam, with no memory of what just happened. The soldiers find her first. They think she is just a terrified civilian who survived the breach. They take her inside the walls to safety, and that is where everything starts to fall apart in the best possible way. Grisha has already eaten the founding Titan. Carla is alive. In the original timeline, Dina ate Carla before Grisha could save her, but in this timeline, Dina never made it to that street. She was eating Bertolt at the gate, so Carla survives. Grisha has no reason to give Eren the Attack Titan and the founding Titan that night. He does not need to. The emergency that drove him to pass those powers does not exist. Eren grows up without the Titans inside him. Dina, meanwhile, is trying to figure out who she is and where she is. She remembers everything from before she became a Titan. She remembers Grisha, she remembers Zeke, she remembers the Eldian restorationists and everything they fought for. She finds him living a quiet life inside the walls. What happens in that moment is the most complicated family reunion in the history of this story. Grisha has to explain everything. His first wife, his first son, while Dina was trapped outside as a monster. Dina tries to understand. She spent years as a pure Titan, mindless and lost. And the first thing she does when she gets her body back is find the man she never stopped loving. She just hugs him. And the moment she does, the moment Dina Fritz with her royal blood touches Grisha, who carries the founding Titan inside him, the power activates. Not the way Eren activated it, not with a plan or a purpose. The founding Titan is awake, and it is not in the hands of Eren. It is somewhere inside the walls, active and completely out of their control. Annie and Reiner try to find Bertholdt to regroup, but Bertholdt is not coming back. And now there are two warriors on enemy territory with no Colossal Titan. The Santa Titan, a random old man. No training, no plan, no idea what just happened. And somehow, completely by accident, he ends up with the two most powerful Titans in the entire story. Here's what nobody remembers about that Titan. Before Marley turned him into a pure Titan, he was an Eldian loyalist. He knew about the warrior program, the royal family, the founding Titan, all of it. He was not some random creature walking through Shiganshina. He was the most dangerous mind trapped inside a mindless body. And in this timeline, he does not swallow. He bites down. The spinal fluid reaches him instantly. An old man wakes up on the ground, confused, shaking, with the Attack Titan and the founding Titan now living inside him. But here's the detail that changes everything. They know exactly what that old man just became. He has Grisha's memories. He knows every secret Marley was hiding inside those walls. And he is standing in the middle of a civilian evacuation with no one who can stop him from telling the truth to everyone around him. The warriors have two choices. Let him talk or reveal themselves right now to silence him. Either way, the mission Marley spent years building collapses in episode 5, Mikasa female Titan. Nobody ever asks what happens when you give the strongest soldier in human history a Titan on top of everything she already is. Annie was good. Annie was precise, cold, and almost impossible to catch, but Annie needed the Titan to be dangerous. Mikasa was already dangerous before she ever picked up a blade. When Annie is captured alive, Hank sees something nobody else does. Not a prisoner, a weapon that Paradis could use. The decision to extract the female Titan and transfer it to Mikasa is not unanimous. Erwin has doubts. Nobody knows if an Ackerman can even receive one of the 9. The Titan science has never been tested on someone like her, but they are running out of time and out of options. Every Titan shifter has a weak point, a moment where the human inside is exposed, a moment where the transformation costs them something. Reiner's mind started fracturing years before anyone noticed. Even Annie, the most disciplined warrior Marley ever produced, had limits. Mikasa has none. The Ackerman body does not break down the way a normal human body does. It does not accumulate the same damage, does not hit the same walls. When she transforms for the first time, the female Titan does not just look different, it moves different, harder, with a precision that comes from years of ODM gear combat, translated directly into a Titan body. The warriors find out almost immediately. Reiner knows what the female Titan looks like when it moves, and this one moves nothing like Annie. It moves like Mikasa, and that is the moment Reiner understands that Paradis just changed the entire equation. But here's what nobody in that story is prepared for. Mikasa with the female Titan is not just a stronger version of Annie. She is something the Titan system was never designed to produce. When Eren is in danger, which he always is, Mikasa does not calculate the risk the way Annie calculated everything, she just moves. And nothing in that battlefield is fast enough to stop her. The last thing the warriors expected when they came to Paradis was to find someone who was already their worst nightmare before she ever had a Titan, and now she has one. Gabby never misses. One shot, and the reason Eren's founding Titan looked like a walking skeleton is because Gabby blew his head clean off his body before he could transform properly. But what if she missed? Eren feels the air move next to his face. The bullet blows straight past him and takes out the wall of a house behind him, and then Eren runs, not away, forward, straight toward Zeke, faster than he has ever moved in his life, hands stretched out toward his brother, and then he makes contact. What comes out of the ground is not a broken spine reaching into the clouds. It is something nobody in that story has ever seen before. A complete founding Titan, standing upright, carrying every single Titan power that has ever existed inside one body. The Attack Titan, the Beast Titan, the Founding Titan, the Warhammer, all of them in one form at full strength. The rumbling still happens. Eren was always going to start it, but everything about how it plays out is completely different. In the original timeline, Eren's Titan was so massive and so broken that he could barely move. He was essentially a living platform, a bus that the Wall Titans marched alongside while he dragged himself forward across the ocean. He could not fight back, he could not dodge, he could not protect himself. He could only keep moving and let the rumbling do the work around him, while his friends caught up and found a way to reach his exposed head. He moves with the Wall Titans. Instead of being dragged forward by them, he can change direction, he can react, he can use the Warhammer ability to harden any part of his body the moment something gets close enough to threaten him. And instead of being the broken centerpiece that everyone else has to protect and work around, he is the general of the most devastating army this world has ever seen, moving alongside it, fighting with it, directing it with full control and full awareness of everything happening around him. The alliance still comes, the fight still happens exactly the way Eren always knew it would. There is no floating head, there is no exposed neck, there is no moment where Eren is vulnerable enough to be reached. It is just Eren Yeager, fully formed, fully in control, with every Titan power in history inside one body, walking toward the rest of the world. Marco already knows everything. He heard Reiner and Berthold confessing, he knows they are the Armored and the Colossal Titans, and Annie just stripped his gear while he begged her to stop. They leave him on a rooftop waiting for a Titan to finish the job. But in this timeline, Marco doesn't just wait. He smashes through a window and falls into the building. In the smoke and the total chaos of the Trost invasion, the warriors see the building partially collapse and assume Marco is gone. They can't stay to check for a body without blowing their cover to the other cadets. He stays in the shadows until the wall is sealed, then finds Jean together. They go straight to Erwin Smith with 3 names: Reiner, Berthold, Annie. All 3 are neutralized in their sleep before the scouts ever leave the safety of the walls. Think about the massive butterfly effect this creates. No female Titan ambush, no forest of giant trees massacre, no death of the Levi squad. What if Reiner transformed without wanting to in that moment? After Marcel died, Annie turned on Reiner. She beat him badly enough that his body made a decision his mind never approved. A survival instinct. The armored Titan erupted from him before he could stop it. And Annie, who has never backed down from anything in her life, she transformed to fight him. 2 warriors fighting each other in the middle of Titan territory. No plan, no backup, and Berthold hiding in the trees watching his 2 closest friends losing control, holding the most destructive Titan ability in existence. He has 2 options: stay hidden and watch them get overwhelmed, or transform and announce to the entire world exactly where 3 Marleyan warriors are hiding before their mission even begins. What would have happened if Mike survived the moment the Beast Titan walked away? Mike did something nobody expected from the 2nd strongest soldier in the Survey Corps. He let him go, he had a blade in his hand, he had the anger, but instead of attacking, he swallowed his pride, dragged himself across the ground with broken legs, and crawled into the nearest building before the Titans could react. He could detect Titans before anyone could see them. The tainted wine, Zeke's entire plan to transform the soldiers inside Paradis, depended on nobody noticing the Titan serum hidden inside the alcohol. Mike would have smelled it before the first glass was poured. Pixis lives, Nile lives. Every soldier Zeke turned into a pure Titan that day survives. Was Eren there the whole time? A mysterious figure in the crowd during season 1, the boat scene, and every single time it looks like Eren. Before you say it is just a coincidence, remember that every single detail in this show is intentional. The Attack Titan can receive memories from its future inheritors, and when he touched the Founding Titan, the paths opened up, a place where past, present, and future are all happening at once. That is where Eren saw everything, so that figure in season 1 was never Eren standing there physically, but it might have been Eren watching through the paths, seeing his own story play out before it even began, knowing exactly how it was going to end. If Mikasa and Annie fought to the death, who actually wins? The internet has been arguing about this for years, and honestly, most people are getting it wrong. The Annie fans always say the same thing. She has better technique, she trained in martial arts her whole life, she'd just take Mikasa down and submit her. And yeah, that sounds good on paper. Annie literally fights like she's been watching UFC since birth. But here's what Annie fans keep forgetting. Mikasa is an Ackerman. That's not just a cool last name, that means her body is basically a cheat code. Superhuman reflexes, superhuman strength. She doesn't need 10 years of training because her muscles already know what to do. It's like putting a black belt against someone who's literally built different on a genetic level. Technique matters until your opponent can move faster than your brain can react. And the biggest proof, Annie herself, she never once tried to engage Mikasa one-on-one after this scene. In the female Titan arc, she actively avoided her. That's not confidence, that's respect. Mikasa wins this. What do you think, Mikasa or Annie? What if we combined Eren's Attack Titan and Ra the Rice's Titan? Ra the Rice managed to inject Eren with the serum before anyone could stop him. Eren already had the Attack Titan inside him, but a pure Titan serum on top of a Titan shifter produces something nobody had ever seen before. An abnormal Attack Titan never seen inside the walls. No control, no plan, no rumbling, no alliance preparing for this. Just Eren lost inside something massive and mindless, destroying everything the walls were built to protect. What would have happened if Grisha saved Mikasa's parents? What if Grisha and Eren never left Mikasa's parents' house that day? Most fans think this is the good ending, but based on the lore, it leads to the total destruction of Paradis. In the canon, Mikasa only awakens her power because of the tragedy she faced. Without that crisis, her Ackerman strength stays locked. She stays a normal girl instead of becoming the world's strongest soldier. This creates a fatal ripple effect. Without an awakened Mikasa to protect him, Eren is just an impulsive kid. In the Battle of Trost, he gets taken out by a Titan before he even realizes his potential. The Founding Titan is lost, the rumbling never happens, and the island is wiped out. What if Levi split the serum between Armin and Erwin? No one thought it was possible, but Levi makes the impossible call. He divides the serum, giving half to Armin and half to Erwin. Both of them survive, but something's different. Armin eats Berthold and inherits the Colossal Titan, but the power feels unstable, like it's only his half. Erwin takes down Reiner and becomes the Armored Titan, but he feels the same. Strong, but not complete. Levi wonders if saving both meant creating two half-heroes instead of one true leader. Would humanity be safer with two Titans at half strength, or did Levi just split their only hope? There is only one person in the entire history of Attack on Titan who could have made the female Titan truly unstoppable, and it was never Annie. Annie was the perfect soldier, fast, precise, trained from childhood to be a weapon. And with the female Titan, she was terrifying. But Annie had one limitation that nobody talks about. She was just a warrior following orders. No royal blood, no connection to the Founding Titan, no ability to command pure Titans as anything more than a distraction. Historia has all of that. Historia is the legitimate heir to the Reese family, the bloodline that carried the Founding Titan for generations. The moment she transforms into the female Titan, every pure Titan in range does not just respond to her scream, they obey it as a royal command. Because the paths recognize her as legitimate in a way they never recognized Annie. Mikasa never had to say goodbye. No Titans, no walls, no war, no countdown that started the moment Eren inherited his father's power. Just two people who found each other in a world that never asked them to sacrifice everything just to survive in it. Mikasa spent the entire story protecting Eren. And in this life, nobody needs protecting. The only only thing she has to hold on to is his hand. Eren once told her he had always hated her scarf, but he never let her take it off. Because some things you hold on to, not because they make sense, but because they remind you that someone chose to stay in the story. We know she buried him on an island and visited his grave until the world forgot his name. In this one, she never has to. This is the ending Attack on Titan never gave them. What would happen if Reiner successfully kidnapped Eren and brought him to Marley? This scenario changes everything in this timeline. Eren activates the Founding Titan from inside enemy territory. The Colossal Titans wake up in Paradis, but they march directly toward Marley, toward Eren and Mikasa. He's on the wrong side of the ocean. Year 850. The fields outside Wall Maria, Hang is dead, eaten by the same Titan that devoured Eren's mother 5 years ago, the Smiling Titan. Eren is on his knees broken. Mikasa holds him. She thanks him for everything, for wrapping that scarf around her, for giving her a reason to live. And something inside Eren snaps. He stands, he screams, he throws a punch at the Smiling Titan, and the moment his fist connects, something impossible happens. To understand what just occurred, we need to talk about the coordinates. The Founding Titan isn't just a weapon, it's a biological command system. Every Eldian is connected through invisible pathways called paths, and the Founding Titan can send commands through this network, including direct control over pure Titans. The Founding Titan can only be fully used by someone with royal blood. Eren doesn't have royal blood. The Smiling Titan wasn't just any Titan. She was Dina Fritz, Zeke's mother, a descendant of the royal family. When Eren touched her, he temporarily bypassed the restriction. For one moment, he had full access to the coordinate. Every pure Titan in the area freezes. Then, as one, they charge directly at Reiner and Bertolt. In the original timeline, Reiner freezes. He watches in horror as dozens of Titans rush toward him. The soldier side of his fractured mind, the part that cares about his Paradit comrades, hesitates. Those few seconds give Eren and the Survey Corps time to escape, but in this timeline, the warrior wins. Reiner sees the Titans coming. He glances at them for half a second and then he moves. A sprint, pure instinct, years of warrior training taking over. Mikasa doesn't even have time to react. Reiner's armored hand slams into her, throwing her to the ground. His other hand grabs Eren. By the time Mikasa gets back on her feet, Reiner is already running south. And Eren, he felt it. That power, the coordinate, he knows now that something inside him just commanded those Titans. He knows he has the Founding Titan, he just doesn't know how to activate it again. The ship has been waiting here for 5 years. A Marleyan vessel designed for one purpose, transporting Titans, reinforced deck, heavy chains built to carry shifters across the ocean. Reiner, still in his armored Titan form, stands on the deck on one shoulder, Ymir in her jaw Titan form. She made her choice, Marley over Historia. Survival over love. On the other shoulder, Bertolt, keeping Eren restrained and sedated. Why does Ymir go with them? This is one of Attack on Titan's most tragic patterns. Ymir spent years as a mindless Titan because she chose survival over principle, accepting a cult's offer to be their goddess. Now she's making the same choice again. She sees Reiner escaping with the coordinate. She knows Marley will win, and she calculates. Survive now, figure out the rest later. Some patterns never break. The ship sets sail behind them, Paradits grows smaller on the horizon, and somewhere on that island, Mikasa is screaming. 3 weeks later, Reiner expects a hero's welcome. Instead, he gets an interrogation room. This reveals how Marley truly views the warriors. General Magath is furious. 5 years. Marcel is dead. Annie is missing. By Marley standards, the mission was a disaster, but never truly accepted. But then the scientists run their tests on Eren, and everything changes. 2 Titan signatures. Not 1, 2, the Attack Titan and the Founding Titan, but there's more. The reports from Reiner describe what happened on that field. Eren commanded pure Titans. He used the coordinate. This isn't just a prisoner, this is the most dangerous weapon in human history. And unlike in any other scenario, Eren already knows he has this power. The problem, the Founding Titan has a failsafe. It can only be fully controlled by someone with royal blood. Eren activated it once, but only through contact with Dina Fritz. And Dina is dead now, torn apart by the Titans Eren commanded. So Marley has the Founding Titan, but they can't use it unless they find another person with royal blood, Zeke Yeager, the Beast Titan warchief of Marley's most valuable asset, and a direct descendant of the royal bloodline through his mother, Dina. If Zeke touches Eren, the Founding Titan activates full power, no limitations. Marley thinks they found the perfect solution solution. But here's what they don't know. Understanding Zeke requires understanding his trauma. His parents were Eldian restorationists, rebels who used Zeke as a tool from birth, training him to infiltrate the warrior program. But Zeke was just a child. He couldn't handle the pressure, so he turned his parents in to Marley. This betrayal shaped everything Zeke became. He convinced himself that the problem wasn't Marley's oppression, it was Eldian existence itself. If Eldians had never been born, none of this suffering would exist. The euthanasia plan used the founding Titan to rewrite Eldian biology, make it so no subject can ever have children again, a quiet extinction, no war, no genocide, just the last generation living out their lives in peace. In Zeke's mind, this is mercy, and now Eren has been delivered directly to him. Zeke volunteers immediately. He tells he can make his brother cooperate, that he can reach him in a way no interrogator can. He has no idea what's really about to happen. Meanwhile, Ymir's fate changes everything. In the original timeline, Ymir was eventually fed to a warrior candidate named Porco Galliard. He inherited the Jaw Titan along with her memories, but in this timeline, Ymir is alive. She returned to Marley willingly. She's cooperating. So Porco Galliard never inherits the Jaw Titan. Porco spent his entire life trying to surpass his brother Marcel. His entire identity was built on proving he should have been chosen instead. Without the Jaw Titan, Porco has no power, no purpose. But Marley still needs a backup plan. If Zeke can't make Eren cooperate, they'll feed Eren to a loyal warrior and transfer the founding Titan to someone they control. The same fate Ymir suffered in the original timeline now falls to Eren, but Zeke intervenes. He requests more time with the prisoner. Magath agrees, thinking he's the one in control. He's wrong. Underground chamber Liberio. Eren has been in Marley for 6 weeks. 6 weeks of interrogations, experiments, scientists treating him like an animal, but the anger inside him hasn't faded. It's grown. He felt something on that field. He commanded titans with nothing but his will. That power is still inside him. He just needs to figure out how to use it again. Zeke tells Eren the truth about their father, about the royal bloodline, about why Eren could activate the coordinate that day. Then he explains his plan. The euthanasia plan, a peaceful end to Eldian suffering. No more titans, no more wars, just the last generation living out their lives, and then silence. They touch, the founder activates, and the cycle ends forever. But Zeke doesn't understand who he's dealing with. The Attack Titan has a unique ability. It can receive memories from future inheritors. Eren has seen where Zeke's plan leads, and he has his own idea of freedom. Eren tells Zeke he agrees. Zeke believes he's finally won. He hasn't even come close. The moment their skin touches, both of them vanish. They find themselves in an infinite desert sand, stretching in every direction. A massive tree in the distance, and beneath it, a girl, Ymir Fritz. This is the Path's realm, the hidden dimension where all Eldians are connected, the place where titans are built from sand, where 2,000 years of commands have been followed without question. Ymir Fritz was the first titan, a slave who gained godlike power but never stopped being a slave. She obeyed King Fritz in life. She obeyed his descendants in death. For 20 centuries she has been trapped here, building every titan, following every royal command. Zeke doesn't hesitate. He has royal blood. He gives the order, sterilize all subjects of Ymir, end the bloodline. Ymir doesn't move. She's looking at Eren through the paths. Eren has seen everything. 2,000 years of her memories, her pain, her obedience, her endless silent waiting. And he understands something Zeke never could. Ymir isn't obeying because she has to. She's obeying because no one ever told her she could stop. Eren doesn't give her a command. He doesn't demand anything. He simply tells her that she's not a slave, that she never was, that the choice has always been hers. Zeke is screaming. He has royal blood. This should be impossible. She has to obey. But for the first time in 2,000 years, Ymir Fritz makes her own decision. She chooses Eren, and the walls begin to fall. The walls explode outward. Millions of colossal titans, 60 meters tall, buried inside the walls for a century. Now awake, they step forward and they begin to march. But here's what makes this timeline catastrophically different from the original. In the canon story, Eren activated the rumbling from paradise. The titans marched away from the island across the ocean toward distant continents. This gave weeks to form alliances, time to plan, time to chase him. In this timeline, Eren is already in Marley. The Colossals don't march away from the enemy. They march directly toward him. Liberio has less than a week to prepare for the end of the world. It's not enough. It was never going to be enough. And what about Ymir, the Jaw Titan? In this timeline, she's still alive when the rumbling begins. She's in Liberio when the Colossals appear on the horizon, and for the first time, she understands what her choice choice really cost her, she's going to die in Marley, far from Historia, far from the only person who ever truly saw her. This is the tragedy of survival-based thinking. When she finally got a second chance at life, she made the same choice again. Porco Galliard, who never got to Jaw Titan, who spent years training for a power he'd never receive, dies in the first wave, crushed beneath a colossal's foot. He never got the chance to prove himself. Marley falls in 11 days, then the Mideast Alliance, then everyone else, nation after nation, continent after continent, crushed beneath millions of feet. And Mikasa, she's still on Paradise when the rumbling begins. No ship, no way across, but this is Mikasa. She doesn't give up, she never has. The question isn't whether she'll try to reach Eren, the question is whether she can get there before there's nothing left to save. What would happen if Reiner successfully captured Eren after the coordinate awakened? The founding titan still activates, the rumbling still happens, the cycle of hatred still burns, but 1,000 small differences create a world, nothing like the one we know. Ymir lives longer, but dies anyway, trapped in her pattern of choosing survival over love. Porco never becomes a titan and dies without ever proving himself. Eren knows his power from the start, and that makes him even more dangerous. When you're trapped in a cycle of violence, is there any escape that doesn't create more suffering? The line between salvation and annihilation was never a grand decision. It was a split-second reaction in a field of titans. One moment where Reiner chose to move instead of freeze, and in this timeline, Reiner didn't hesitate. What would happen if Erwin Smith became the Colossal Titan? This was never supposed to exist, but one decision changed everything. Erwin dedicated his entire life to one question, a question that got his father killed, a question that sent hundreds of soldiers to their deaths on the rooftops of Shiganshina. He was seconds away from finally getting his answer, but Levi let him die. In this timeline, he didn't. Shiganshina is burning. The rooftops are covered in ash and blood. The Beast Titan has been defeated. Bertolt lies unconscious somewhere below. And right now, in this exact moment, Levi Ackerman holds the future of humanity in his hands. A single injection, one dose, 2 dying soldiers behind him. Armin burned beyond recognition. A boy who outsmarted the Colossal Titan and paid for it with his body. In front of him, Erwin Smith, the commander who just led a final charge against certain death. The man who convinced soldiers to give their hearts knowing they would never come back. In the original timeline, Levi sees that small movement of Erwin's arm, that unconscious gesture that seems to say, "Let me rest." And Levi, the man who has followed Erwin into hell more times than anyone, decides to let him rest. But in this timeline, Levi sees something else. He sees 30 years of sacrifice about to be wasted. He sees the one mind capable of navigating what comes next slipping away, and he makes a choice that will haunt him forever. Right now, Levi is condemning his best friend to keep fighting a war he was finally about to escape. Erwin's scream cuts through the smoke of Shiganshina. It's not pain, it's something far worse. It's the sound of a man being ripped away from peace and thrown back into chaos against his will. His body expands. Steam explodes from flesh that was seconds away from going cold forever. The pure titan that rises over Shiganshina isn't mindless like the others. There's something behind those enormous eyes. Recognition, awareness, and fury. Bertolt sees it coming. The Colossal Titan shifter, the man who kicked down Wall Maria 5 years ago, the reason Erwin's father was executed for knowing too much, the reason thousands of people died inside those walls. There's a cruel justice in what happens next. Bertolt started this nightmare, and now his power passes to the one man capable of ending it. Steam clears, Erwin Smith opens his eyes. He's alive. He has the power of the Colossal Titan. The same power that destroyed his world now belongs to him. But here's the detail everyone forgets. When Erwin looks down, he sees something he hasn't seen in over a year. His right arm, complete, fully regenerated. Titan shifters heal everything, and for a moment, just a moment, Erwin flexes fingers he thought he'd lost forever. The arm that was torn away by a titan is back, but there's no time to process it, because 13 years from now, this power will kill him. And before that happens, Erwin Smith has work to do. 3 days later, Erwin stands in front of a door. Not just any door, the basement of the Jaeger house. The answer to the question that has consumed his entire existence since he was a child. His father once asked a simple question in a classroom. What if the history we've been told is a lie? That question got him killed, and Erwin has spent 30 years trying to find out why. This door, this his basement. His hand doesn't shake when he opens it, but it should. A photograph, people smiling, dressed in clothes that don't exist inside the walls, standing in front of buildings that shouldn't be possible, technology that surpasses anything Paradise has ever seen. Erwin's father was right. Everything was a lie. Humanity didn't almost go extinct. There's an entire world out there. Cities, nations, millions of people who have been living normal lives while everyone inside the walls believed they were the last humans alive. Grisha Jaeger's journals confirm everything. Marley, Eldia, the Titan curse, a war that started 2,000 years ago, a world that fears and hates everyone on this island. Here's what makes this moment different from the original timeline. When Armin learned this truth, he saw a possibility. New lands to explore, enemies who might become friends. A world of infinite potential waiting beyond that ocean. Erwin sees something completely different. He sees patterns, strategic positions, resources, weaknesses, military capabilities. 30 years of war don't disappear because you learned the truth. Armin was a tactician, brilliant at solving immediate problems, finding solutions in the middle of chaos. Erwin is a strategist. He doesn't think about the next battle, he thinks about the next decade. And right now, the greatest strategic mind Paradise has ever produced is analyzing an enemy that has been preparing to destroy them for 100 years. The return to the walls changes everything. In the original timeline, Henge takes command of the Survey Corps. She's brilliant, passionate, but she's a scientist at heart, not a military strategist, and Armin, despite his genius, is a 15-year-old boy carrying trauma he hasn't begun to process. Erwin walks into the command room and takes his seat like he never left. The difference is immediate. Henge presents the same information, the same threats, the same impossible odds, but the response is completely different. Where Henge would hesitate and seek more information, Erwin decides. Where Armin would consider peaceful options, Erwin prepares for war. Not because he wants conflict, but because 30 years of experience have taught him one absolute truth. The enemy doesn't negotiate with people they consider devils. Here's what most people don't understand about Erwin Smith. He wasn't just good at strategy, he was pathologically paranoid. Every alliance was a potential betrayal. Every offer was a potential trap. Every friend could become an enemy. In the original timeline, Marley infiltrates Paradise with the wine conspiracy. Zeke Jaeger poisons the military leadership with spinal fluid, turning dozens of soldiers into ticking time bombs. Henge doesn't see it coming. Armin suspects something but can't prove it. Erwin would have seen it immediately, not because he's smarter than them, but because he trusts no one. He assumes betrayal by default, and a man who led a fatal charge while suspecting his own government of conspiracy doesn't let a single bottle of foreign wine enter military hands without knowing exactly where it came from. The wine trap never happens. Zeke's plan fails before it begins, and then there's Eren. In the original timeline, Armin and Mikasa treat Eren like a friend until it's too late. They see his changes, they notice his distance, but they can't bring themselves to treat him as a threat because they love him. Erwin doesn't have that problem. He sees Eren the same way he sees everyone, as a variable in a larger equation. And when that variable starts acting unpredictably, Erwin doesn't hope for the best. He plans for the worst. N is monitored. His movements are tracked. His contacts are documented. Not because Erwin suspects anything specific, but because the founding Titan is too dangerous to leave unwatched. This is the fundamental difference between a tactician and a strategist. Armin reacts to problems. Erwin prevents them from happening. The scouts ride west. For the first time in 100 years, humans from inside the walls will touch salt water, the symbol of freedom, the dream that Armin talked about since childhood. The horizon that seemed impossible for so long is finally within reach. Mikasa is the first to dismount. Then Jean, Connie and Sasha run toward the water like children, splashing each other, laughing, tasting salt on their lips for the first time. Eren stands at the edge, his eyes fixed on the horizon, and there's something dark in his expression that no one else seems to notice. And then there's Erwin. He walks slowly, deliberately. His boots sink into wet sand. The waves reach his feet and he stops. This should be victory, the dream fulfilled. The question answered, the ocean reached. But Erwin doesn't take off his boots. He doesn't run into the water. He doesn't celebrate. Across that water is Marley. Beyond that horizon are battleships being built, soldiers being trained, weapons being developed specifically to exterminate everyone on this island. The world has had 100 years to prepare for this moment. 100 years to advance their technology while Paradis was trapped behind walls. 100 years to turn global hatred against Eldians into military doctrine, and Erwin Smith standing at the edge of the ocean with salt water touching his boots isn't thinking about how beautiful the view is. He's thinking about how difficult it will be to defend this coastline. He's thinking about invasion routes, naval capabilities, strategic choke points. Here's the tragedy that everyone misses when they debate Erwin versus Armin. Armin would have stood here and seen infinite possibility, new friends, new knowledge, a chance for peace, and that hope, that beautiful innocent hope, would have been crushed the moment Marley's fleet appeared on the horizon. Erwin doesn't have hope. He has 30 years of watching hope get people killed, and maybe that's exactly what Paradis needed, because Armin was the dreamer humanity wanted, but Erwin might be the commander humanity needed. The ocean was supposed to be the end. 6 months pass. Paradis is no longer the island that lived in fear behind walls for a century. Erwin has spent every single day since the ocean preparing for a war that most people still don't believe is coming. The difference between Erwin and every commander before him is simple. He doesn't wait for the enemy to make the first move. He makes them react to him. 3 weeks after inheriting the Colossal Titan, Erwin stands alone in an empty field outside Wall Rose. No soldiers, no witnesses, just him and the power he never asked for. The bite, the lightning, the explosion of steam that reaches the clouds, and then Erwin Smith sees the world from 60 meters above the ground. From up here, he can see troop movements from kilometers away. He can count supply wagons, he can identify weak points in fortifications that would be invisible from the ground. The Colossal Titan isn't just a weapon, it's the ultimate way to see everything. And the heat, steam radiates from his body in waves. In winter, when Marley expects Paradis to be immobilized by cold, the Colossal Titan can march through blizzards like they don't exist. This power wasn't designed for destruction, it was designed for war, and Erwin Smith has spent 30 years mastering war. Eren's transformation happens gradually. His friends notice the change but convince themselves it's temporary. Erwin notices something different. He notices patterns. Eren asking questions about the founding Titan's power. Eren spending hours alone with Historia. Eren's sudden interest in his father's memories. The attack Titan can see future memories, and the Titan that can see the future combined with a soldier whose hatred grows darker every day is not a weapon. It's a threat. Eren never escapes to Marley because Erwin doesn't trust anyone. When Yelena's people attempt to distribute the tainted wine, they find that their shipments have been replaced. Zeke's insurance policy is worthless before it begins. This is the difference between trusting and verifying. Hanks trusted, Erwin verifies always. Zeke arrives, the Beast Titan, the man who threw rocks that killed hundreds of Survey Corps soldiers. Erwin remembers every soldier who died that day. He remembers leading them forward anyway. And now the man responsible is standing in front of him, offering an alliance. Zeke explains his euthanasia plan, the peaceful extinction of the Eldian race. Erwin refuses immediately. Zeke is arrested. His spinal fluid is extracted. The Beast Titan's power is neutralized. 18 months later, Marley's fleet appears on the horizon. 32 warships, the largest naval force assembled in decades. Cannons capable of piercing Titan armor. Soldiers trained specifically for this invasion. Intelligence reports said Paradis had no navy, no coastal defenses, no way to stop a seaborne assault. A single figure stands on the beach, too far to identify, too still to be a threat. And then lightning strikes from a clear sky. The explosion of steam is visible from 20 kilometers away. When the steam clears, every sailor on every ship falls silent. 60 meters of burning muscle and bone stands at the water's edge, but this one stands with military precision. This one is scanning the fleet with eyes that are thinking, instead of just being angry. What if Eren Yeager chose Mikasa? What if he never started the rumbling, never freed the Wall Titans, and instead just ran? One answer from Mikasa and Eren Yeager never becomes the monster the world feared. He walks away, not from cowardice, not from weakness, but because for the first time in his life, he has something worth staying for. They find a piece of land far from the walls, far from Marley, far from everything that tried to turn them into weapons. They build something small with their own hands, a cabin, a garden, a life that nobody in Paradis ever thought was possible for either of them. Eren wakes up next to someone who chose him. Not the soldier, not the founding Titan, just him. And for a guy who spent his whole life feeling like a weapon, that is the strangest and best thing he has ever felt. Then their son is born, and everything Eren thought he was fighting for stops making sense in the best way possible. He is not thinking about Marley anymore. He is not thinking about the walls or the island or the people who want them dead. He is having dinners that go too long because nobody wants to get up and leave. He is having mornings where absolutely nothing happens, and realizing that was the whole point all along. In chapter 130, 38, the anime shows us a dream. Eren and Mikasa alone in a cabin in the mountains, far away from everything. But what if it wasn't a dream? What if Eren actually chose that life? They settle in a cabin in the mountains. No walls, no titans, no war, just the two of them. He's quiet, he loves the outdoors, and he carries a small bird toy everywhere he goes. He doesn't know about the titans, he doesn't know his father once held the power to destroy the entire world. But Eren always knew this was borrowed time. The curse gives every titan shifter 13 years, and his clock started the moment he ate his father in that forest. When the day comes, Eren doesn't fight it. He sits with them one last time. The boy holds his bird toy against his chest, not understanding why his mother can't stop crying. And then he's gone. Not as a soldier, not as a titan, just as a father who ran out of time.